Hi, good evening. I am the caller, and this is the Cheese Room podcast. You're joining me live from the Man Cave as we celebrate a glorious draw at Anfield. And I've got four illustrious guests with me this evening to discuss it. First of all, let's talk to Becky, who was there at the game at Anfield.
I was. Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone on the chat. It was a great day. I did an all day. I went out at 1 and got in about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was fab. Yeah, it was great. I haven't done that for a long time.
No, weren't tempted to stay over in Scousland?
No, it's only a short train drive. So no, Dave, my husband, picked me up at about 12:30, I think. No, I was still up. Me and Joe were still up at 2 drinking, but wow. I got the train home. Wow. But we did it because we thought we'd need to drown our sorrows because we thought it was going to be an awful match, and then the match turned out to be fantastic. So it just made it even better.
There you go. And some footage of you there. This is at the final whistle. What a great view! Yeah. Row like 5 or something.
Row 8 it was. Very, very good view it was. Yeah, great.
I'm very jealous of you, Becky. As you know, when I go to away games, great results happen, but I've normally left by the time they do.
The people we were with, they texted me saying we're leaving at 80 minutes, and me and Joe stayed, and then they phoned about 85 minutes going, "Where are you?" And we were like, "We're still in the ground. We aren't leaving. It's we're not going anywhere." So they left,
which of course is the right thing to do, provided you're in the way end. Just let's be clear. John, welcome back from the South Coast. How are you, sir?
All right. I'm interested, Becky. Did Dave laugh at you in the morning? Were you slightly hungover?
No, because we were very sensible girls, me and Joe. We sort of took it easy and we were eating toast in the middle of the night. But no, I had no hangover. But everyone we were with did have major hangovers.
You got the munchies, did you?
Yeah, totally. We didn't eat anything all day, but yeah, we were very, very gleeful yesterday. Feeling good.
Well, there you go. Well, it's good to have you back on, John. Good to have your humour and wit. I've normally only got HG, so it's an upgrade. Also joining me, I've got not one but 2 Dave Harrises this evening. We'll go to the first. Irish Hotspur, Irish Dave. How are you, sir? It's a long time no see.
Yeah, look, I'm absolutely buzzing. Top 4 is still in the bag coming out of Anfield. That's our still in with a chance coming out of Anfield. It's all we could have asked for. I'm absolutely super proud of the boys. And look, thanks for having me. It's an absolute honour. So thanks for asking me. Hopefully I can provide something to your show.
It's good to see you. And the other Dave Harris, the Australian Dave Harris. How are you?
I'm very well. We've got Dave Harris's in the show. Becky's other half's called Dave. It's a David Lovin tonight. Just respect.
My dad is David.
That's what we're talking about.
Did you know my middle name is David?
You had to ruin it.
All the David Culshaw.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's exactly right. How did you know? Super chats are live, so do bang them in during the show, and we'll get to your questions throughout. Channel membership's also there. There is a link in the description. But let's crack into it. It was a predictable starting 11, should we say? Any surprises in that for you, Becky, as you were there?
No, just we were thinking whether he would start more like he did last time, but he didn't. He stuck with Kulusevski, and it's become our best 11 really when everyone's fit. So yeah, it was as expected. Luckily, didn't need the bench again because again there wasn't much depth there again. But yeah, certainly starting 11 is what we'd hope for.
Yeah, absolutely. Irish Dave, Irish Hotspur. I'm going to go with Irish Hotspur. Because 2 days is just too much for me to handle. First half, you must have been dreading it. Surely, backs to the wall. First 15 minutes, I thought we were going to get pasted.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was scared. I was nervous. It did look like it was only going to go one way. I mean, even Sessions header back across our own goal, nearly to Mo Salah, but Hugo Lloris done well. I mean, my heart was in my mouth, and there was a good period there, even towards the end of the half, where Liverpool really ramped it up. But what we've been able to do this year that we haven't been able to do maybe in previous times, is hold out. How many times have we conceded, to Liverpool and buckled under the pressure? But we didn't do that this time. We rode the wave, and we ended up going 1-up then, and in the process of riding the wave. And look, even their goal was a bit was lucky, and that just goes to show the luck they get. But my biggest problem with the first half was, how was Fabinho not booked? I mean, I think it was after about 25 minutes, Harry Kane looked at the referee and was like, "That's his fourth challenge." Where's the yellow card? And we just don't get the luck up there when it comes to referees or VAR decisions. Never do against Liverpool. But all in all, a very good first half. We backs to the wall, and everyone stayed switched on. How many times have we seen people switch off, with a casual ball over the top, or just doing the wrong thing? Even on the ball, I thought we were excellent. I've seen loads of time down, especially the last couple of years, where we just haven't had the technical players across all positions to even be able to play under pressure. And we maneuvered the ball under pressure in the first half very well. And I was super proud of the first half performance. Very happy with it.
What was the biggest surprise, Dave O, taking the lead, or the fact that Emerson had the game of his life? And you must have been a little bit worried when you see that lineup and you think who he's up against. But he was rock solid offensively, wasn't he?
I think he had his best game in a Tottenham shirt. Now, there's not much of a benchmark there against some of his other performances this season, but I think the game was suited to him because he needed to defend, and he's going to spend a lot of the game doing that. I mean, the Hoddle-esque pass that he did to lead to the goal, it was totally meant. But I thought he had a good game. He even got forward. It was aggressive going forward. I believe I saw him putting a cross in. The only thing that he wasn't so good is heading the ball out for corners a couple of times when he really didn't need to. And Ben Davies had a massive go at him about that in the second half. But that was his best game in the Spurs shirt.
Do you think, Dave, that maybe the noise in the stadium is part of the reason he couldn't hear a call, maybe to leave the ball on that one? Because obviously Anfield can be quite loud, especially in front of the Kop.
Yeah, well, that's right, because the best atmosphere in the world for football is Anfield, because Liverpool are the greatest supporters. They did invent football. They invented music with the Beatles. They invented comedy with Tarby, and we all bowed out to them. So, yeah, there's no noise in any other stadium around the world.
Do you want to carry on?
No.
Was
By
it
the
that
way,
loud, Becky?
I've just deleted half the run sheet.
Was it that loud, Becky?
No, it wasn't. I didn't really hear much singing at all. The Spurs fans were just immense, non-stop. And there was a few times when they were sort of whistling when we were having a few attacks. But other than that, no, they were really frustrated. You could sense that there was a frustration. But one thing that did make me chuckle is when he announced right at the beginning, they announced the teams. The announcer said the champions, and here's your Champions League finalist team, and that's how he kind of addressed them. And that got them going. But really, other than that, there's nothing at all. They were quite frustrated.
Did you say we've been Champions League finalists? It's no big thing. Sissoko's been a Champions League finalist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Winks. Winks was our best player. That's how bad it was.
Oh God! I'll tell you what. When he came on the pitch, I was genuinely worried. But even he did relatively okay, I suppose. Sessegnon. What do we think of Sessegnon, John? Sessegnon had one of his better games, but as Irish Hotspur said, that ball, that header could have gone proper wrong. But set up the goal. Generally competent. Are we feeling a bit more comfortable with Sessegnon in the team now than we would have been 6 months ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think Paul might have said it in the pod at the week last week, saying that he's the sort of player who needs 2 or 3 games to get going. Obviously, he's come back from the injury. Attacking wise, you could tell from the off he knew he could beat Alexander-Arnold. He knew he definitely had to keep going at him, and that was always going to be the place we were going to have success, was behind Trent, because we know he's not the best defender. 100% we can see why Southgate doesn't trust him for England at right back at the moment when we've got a number of other options. Going forward, Alexander-Arnold's amazing, but defensively he's dodgy. And you could see Sessegnon growing when he beat him the first time, and he obviously just kept going at him. But defensively, that header, yes, that was, I think Lloris made 2 saves, but that was the 3rd save he made. and it was top class from Lloris because he didn't have to do very much. To be honest, Liverpool weren't brilliant, were they? And
no, they hit the bar, didn't they? That Van Dijk header that rattled the bar.
That was worrying me because Van Dijk had one over the bar early on, pretty much free header, and then he hit the bar. Yeah. And I thought, here we go again. And I did put a little 50p on Van Dijk to score. Do it following your booking hex on Romero. It seemed to work.
It worked. He didn't get booked again, did he?
He still hasn't been booked.
No.
But yeah, I think that was a good performance, and I'm pleased for him because he's clearly such a confidence player. We've said it so many times, and it's probably the best performance he's had for a while.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Irish Hotspur, we haven't had you on for a while, so talk us through what your thoughts are on Kulusevski. He's setting the world on fire on the right, isn't he?
The ginger for Sweden, I absolutely love him. Look, I was listening to Sky Sports, over the weekend, and who was it? Tim Sherwood said something that kind of hit home with me, is that Kulusevski gives the ball to other players when they need it, and not when he's done with it. And that's the biggest difference with Kulusevski. Look, Lucas Moura, up until the Leicester game, he was having a decent season. But the problem with Lucas Moura is there's just not enough consistency in terms of end product. And we've seen that when Kulusevski was dropped against Leicester, Lucas Moura came in for 55 minutes and done absolutely nothing. Kulusevski came on, and within the first 10 minutes, he had an assist and ran at them once or twice and was creating openings. And the thing is, I believe with Lucas Moura, I think his feet are faster than his head, whereas Kulusevski's head thinks a lot quicker than what his feet does. And look, it's the old saying in football that the ball always moves quicker than any man on the pitch. And at the end of the day, Kulusevski, he always plays the right ball. His end product is absolutely brilliant. But a lot of people call him slow, but he's not actually that slow. And plus, when you have the strength this guy does to be able to hold players off, you don't need the pace. You just don't need it. And for me, I think he's come in and he's offered absolutely what we need, because under Jose Mourinho, what I was seeing, and I really noticed it in the Leicester game last season, is when we were getting the ball, teams were pressing us from the middle and over to the left, just completely pressing us, taking the ball off us, and leaving the whole right-hand side exposed. They didn't even have to worry about the right-hand side. But since Kulusevski has come in, he's hit the ground running with Kane and Son, which is not an easy thing to do as a youngster coming into this, just slotting in with two world-class players and hitting the ground running. And he's done that. And it's all you could have asked for. I mean, he's probably done better than what I imagined. When we were signing him, I was excited because I've seen a hell of a lot of this kid, and I was really excited at what we get. And a lot of people call him a reject. Well, I mean, if he's a reject, I want players like that coming in the door every single transfer window. But what he's done is it's just that composure that he's had, and it now means that teams, they can't just press us over one side. They have to. Kulusevski being on the right hand side keeps their defense honest. It means that he keeps them stretched as well. And just what he does is he's just composed. First touch is always good, holds off people, and just looks to play Son and Kane. I mean, even one of the assists to Son there recently, I was really impressed with. He just held on to it long enough that he waited for one of their opposition players to move and then slid it for Son to tap in. And he's been an absolute huge asset. The ginger from Sweden, I want more of him.
Yeah, I think he's turned into a quality option for us on the right. Becky, did the ginger from Sweden song get sung much in the stadium?
In the concourses a bit, yeah, and in the pub before we went in the ground. I thought he had a reasonably quiet game-ish compared to recent games, but still a very strong performance from him. I think it's because Cesc had quite a good game. They were sort of balancing each other out, and Salah just wasn't really involved. He had crumbs of things that they created, didn't he, Salah? And that was down to the whole team. It was a whole team performance. The defense was just superb, and instantly, as soon as Cesc did that back header, he apologized immediately. So again, with said, his confidence will come as he gets into sort of situations and sort of knows what to do with them. But yeah, I just think there's an all-round superb performance from all of them.
I think with Sessegnon, you're right. I think he will grow in confidence, and it's results like that away at Anfield, hostile atmosphere, and getting a result, not making anything that's going to cost a goal or anything, any big mistakes. Stuff like that, performances like that are really going to stand him in good stead, I think. I believe
Royal,
there's a player in there. Really
Royal as well. Royal will benefit from that as well. He's going to have situations where it could have gone anywhere, and he'll build on that as well.
Yeah, it's great. I saw him get he got man of the match, didn't he? Sorry, Dave, I was interrupting you.
Yeah, sorry. No, I mean, I've got a slightly alternative view on it. I think, look, Royal had a good game. It's out for him, but I won't be sorry if he's sold in the summer and we get a proper right wing back, because that's the system that we play. I mean, the only place he could play, and I wouldn't want it anyway, is a right centre back, possibly. But I think we should get rid. Sessegnon, look, he had a good game. It's been 3 years now since we signed him. He needs to keep fit. I think he's got some kind of issues with his hamstrings. He came to us when his hamstring was torn in the first place, and he keeps doing them. So for him, he had a great game on the weekend. He needs to be more assertive. He needs to get to the touchline more. And we're always talking about he's got he needs a run of games. He needs the confidence. He's been at the club now 3 years. He had a year on loan. You look at Skip. Skip went out on loan, came back, and a real player. Mm-hmm. So it's make or break for him. I think in terms of getting rid of wing backs over the summer, Reggie, if we get that money from Madrid for Reggie and the clause, and Emerson, big if, and we get him out and Emerson out, and we get two proper wing backs in, that would be a lot better. Conte's system relies on wing backs.
100%. You get Doherty though right now.
Yeah, I would.
He's got no cash value, has he? Really, Doherty, because of his age. So you might as well keep him.
Yeah.
I think people are putting in the chat, aren't they, about Mora seeing his contract out. It's the same sort of thing with Mora. If we've got good things coming, Mora's may as well stay and be a bit part player, but he'll be part of the experience and part of all, hopefully, the things that we achieve.
He'll be still telling people about his hat-trick in Amsterdam in 10 years, 20 years' time. That's his career done.
50 years' time, probably.
Yeah. With Mora, if we've got a proper squad, we properly invest in the summer, I'd see him as the fourth choice off the bench, starts League Cup games, and that's about it. He's not good enough.
And the thing is, we're at a point now as well. Sorry to cut across. It's not my show. How dare I? But I got to do it. The difference is, look, I see the whole Emerson debate. Emerson's what, 22? I mean, Kyle Walker was on loan at Aston Villa at 22. But the difference between back then and now is we've got a guy that's for the here and now. He wants to be challenging next season if he stays at Tottenham. We don't have time to be sitting there developing players. We've got to bring in the real deal. If they're not good enough defensively or technically or whatever it may be, unfortunately, right now where we're at, we're going to have to be ruthless. And you've just got to get rid of them and get in the right guys. Until you do have a whole set of squad, then you can bring in guys and develop them and stuff like that. But where we are right now, unfortunately, I actually think Emerson was good against Leicester, brilliant against Liverpool. Has he done enough? Do we have time to develop him? Do we have time to send him out on loan and reinvest in that position again? I'm not so sure. And that's why I think you might see Matt Doherty stay, because he's 31. It was during the week, Ali Gold was saying that, like the likes of Bergwijn has poor attitude in training because he's not playing games, but the likes of Doherty went away, worked on his game, got back into the team and took his chance. And I just think that Conte would more than likely keep Doherty over Emerson because he wants for the here and now. And with Doherty, he has that experience. With Emerson, there's still an awful lot of work to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think conversely on the left back side of things, I think if we get good money for Reggie, then he will go. And Sessegnon, I think Sessegnon's his preferred choice anyway, if I'm being really honest. So I think you're going to see probably, I think you're right, Emerson will probably go. Reggie will probably go, and we'll get hopefully two proper wing backs in that can do the job. I
quite like the guy at Brighton. Is it Cucurella?
Cucurella.
I love his name. It's like something out of Scarface. Cucurella.
And his hair.
Is that your suggestion? Is it?
Well, that's my suggestion on that one, and get the guy who's been out on loan at Middlesbrough. On right,
Forest.
Yeah,
Jed Spence.
Get him as well. Get those two in.
Yeah, but they're not what I mean, you're kind of contradicting yourself slightly here, because you always say we need to sign better players, but Jed Spence is just some would argue, Dave, he's probably below Sessegnon in his development curve.
Well, we'll see now, won't we? We shouldn't have spent 20...
that's the answer.
Do you know what? We shouldn't have spent 50 million quid on Heel and Emerson if we're going to go down this road. You know, at the end of the day, Cucurella left wing back, get him in, and because Sessegnon's so injury prone, we've got a nice backup option in Ben Davies, is that he could play left wing back at a stretch if we've got an emergency, right? On the right hand side, Doherty comes back, getting Spence or getting someone else who plays in Serie A that Paratici knows all about. But the reality is, Emerson's got to go. Sorry.
I'll just put this up because has HG got a different channel we don't know about? Because he's banging the Kostic drum all the time, and I believe he's only got like a 15 million euro buyout clause or something like that. So that would make probably more sense than Cucurella, who we know Brighton drive a hard bargain. They got 50 million for Ben White. Yeah, that's more likely to happen, I think, in the grand scheme of things, because we need a full squad overhaul. I know, you talked the other day about 150 million or 225 million, wasn't it, Caller? I think you said.
Oh, that's what. No, that was just.
I mean, ballpark, wasn't it? I know, but you're right.
Maths are we need to spend 220 million to get competitive for the Premier League title. But that's obviously without any money coming in. So that could end up being a net spend of about 100 million quite easily.
Yeah, and all that revenue we've got in from the stadium this year, we can well afford it, of course.
But not only that, we've got Ndombele to cash in on, Lo Celso. You've got Carter Vickers to cash in on. Plus I reckon Harry Winks to be sold. Bergwijn looks like he wants out. So there's a lot of cash that can't be generated. But the thing is, you don't even have to spend millions, though. I mean, we don't have the money like a City, like a Chelsea. We don't have the oligarch backings, but you can do it like Liverpool, who, if you look throughout most of their squad, Mane came from Southampton, Van Dijk came from Southampton, Trent Alexander came through the academy, Robertson from Hull City, Henson from Sunderland, Fabinho from Monaco. You don't have to spend multi-millions of pounds to assemble this great squad. You just got to buy the right players who live their life right off the pitch, because that will transcend to them playing and doing everything properly on the pitch, but also with the right attributes for the position and the tactics and the way you want to play.
And the right.
Can I ask, Irish, who's going to buy Ndombele? Seriously.
Look, I do not know, but at the end of the day, if no one wants to buy him, rip up his contract. You cannot allow a guy to come in and take the piss out of a club like that, because all it does is encourage more and more people to come here and do that. You've got to put down your marker and just say, look, what he's done is not is completely unacceptable, and rip up his contract like Aurier, like we done to Aurier. If there's no winning suitors, I get we sunk. I mean, what was it, 60, 70 million pounds, if not more, into him. And I get that. And I get we paid him huge wages. But at the end of the day, the club got it wrong, and you've got to take the hit for it.
I think with Ndombele, you'd be surprised, John. I think there will be clubs willing to take him. It's just how much we subsidise it by, ultimately. I'm talking wages. Maybe a loan, maybe a purchase, and we agree to subsidise for a period of time. Ndombele is a frustration, isn't it? Because he's got talent. He's just lazy.
I think the best thing would be if Poch stays on for another season at PSG.
It's fine him, quite possibly, yeah.
Yeah, but Poch stays on at PSG, and the worst case scenario, we get a loan. He gets a loan out to PSG, and then how many years is left on his contract after that? About 8 million.
Only about 8.
Yeah.
No, it was a 6-year deal 3 years ago, wasn't it? I think.
So 3 years.
Yeah. 6 minus 3 equals.
I'm pretty sure you can do that. Do the math.
Where's Diver? We're reading.
On keto somewhere.
Not singing songs at away games. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the sheer amount that we sunk on Endom French fries and stuff like that, the sheer amount that we sunk on him is prime example of what's been wrong with our recruitment over the last couple of years, and a massive part of why we've been in the situation we've been in. Like Steve Hitchen wasted, you go back and look at his transfers, he wasted about 350 million at this club. Like, we do put money forward for transfers. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously we've had the transfer windows where we haven't spent anything, but we have spent money over the last couple of years to try and close the gap or try and build on what we've done from the Champions League, but we just done it completely wrong.
badly. Ultimately, our scouting and recruitment department's just been horrific, and that ultimately that's why Paratici's in there, isn't it? And fundamentally, he's been brought in for that purpose, and he's, I know there's mixed feelings about him. I personally think he's heading in absolutely the right direction, because even if he's only had 2 or 3 hits with what he's signed, that's an immediate improvement on what we've had for the previous sort of 4 years.
Yeah, but if you go back, I'd be interested if we saw a graphic, which we don't have, to say every time we've broken our transfer record, as we've gone along, it's been awful. I mean,
yeah.
Didn't David Bentley cost a shitload of money?
Yeah, shitload of cash.
That goal against Arsenal was
Yeah, true. I mean, you look at how we spent the Bale money.
Yeah,
Vlad.
We got Ericsson in though, didn't we?
Yeah, well, he was the last. I think he was the last one in for about the cheap, but probably about the cheapest. Ericsson,
Lamella,
Soldado.
I loved Lamella. Soldado should have worked, Dave. Soldado should have worked, but
yeah, just like Ndombele should have worked. Soldado should have worked. I mean, he's a proven prolific scorer in La Liga. It was like we were getting a Spanish Jermaine Defoe. Instead, we got a Jermaine Genius on the one show. So look, every time we've broken the record, more often than not, we've done it badly. So there you go. It's not just the last few years thing.
No. Well, looking back to the game, I couldn't believe. I tell you what, we broke away, and then Højbjerg hit the post, and I couldn't believe. I was screaming at him to pass the goddamn ball. Who foresaw him hitting the post at that point? Like, and anyone stick their hand up there and say, yeah, he's got that in his locker?
No, we were all screaming to go out wide right to Kulu, weren't we?
Go on, Irish Hotspur, have you say?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he not scored at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Liverpool, and I just feel like that kind of because he has scored against Liverpool before, he might have a little feeling against Liverpool. I just thought he would crack one if he was given a chance, purely because he has scored against Liverpool before when he shot from distance.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that's the case, then he should have done better with a header at the end.
100%.
Oh.
Well, let's cover that. As you've brought it up. We haven't moved on to the second half, but as you've brought it up, let's have a look at that. I mean,
being in the ground, I didn't realise that was as good a chance as it was, even though I am very close to that. It just felt like it happened so quickly that it just didn't feel like he had so much space. I watched it back on Match of the Day, and obviously you can see Bergwijn behind him, you see Kane in front of him, and just the keeper had already gone, I think, to his right, so practically had it space to his left. Yeah. Didn't realise all this live, and then just think, crikey, what would have been. But we've had so many what would have been moments at Anfield over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I'm just here. You can see what he's trying to do, but the intelligent footballer's thing to do would be just leave it for Bergwijn. That's the simple manoeuvre, isn't it? When I'm playing five-a-side tomorrow night, keep it simple. That's what I say to the guys. Just keep it simple. Gonna have to impart some wisdom on the Spurs players.
Are you really aligning your five-a-side football to professional?
In fairness, last week it was 10-a-side, and I had to run around for 70 minutes with no break on a pulled groin. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should have a regular spot on the show when you give us an update of your footballing exploits, so that if anyone wants to go off and make a cup of tea at that point, they can do so.
We could. Well, we needed some football to talk about in the summer, because when there's no football to talk about,
no problem. What I'll do is I'll bring some equipment down to the pitches, 4G pitch, floodlights, get a good crowd. Sometimes it's got more atmosphere than the Emirates, that's for sure. And,
so Irish Hotspur, if you're struggling for content on your show, get Caller on to talk about his weekly football game. We'll discuss a transfer fee and add-ons later. Okay?
No one's bought the rights to it yet, so there's a streaming opportunity there. That's all I'm saying.
Get Diver down. Caller can.
You can find yourself in beside centre if he's not careful.
If you want to see a middle-aged fat man running around the pitch, there you go.
Can I just interject? We have 108 people watching and only 41 likes, as Kerry's just pointed out. Come on, guys.
That is poor. Yeah, that is really poor. So please do hit the like button. It takes you about a second, costs you nothing, and it means the world to us here on the show. So second half, no changes to either side. and eventually a goal from the blue. Beautifully worked move, Becky. How was it in the stadium? Did you see it? Did it look as fluid as that? Because it looked really fluid.
And the thing that, going back to the Højbjerg mistake of the miss, is that it was just so good from Cess. When he's not been in that situation as much as we would like him to be, it could have been like an Emerson thing where it had gone out for a corner, or it could have hit a defender. The pass was superb to Sonny, that anyone would have been able to tap it in like that. It was just, and like we said, whether Royal meant the kind of cross to Kane or not, the whole move was a really nice kind of team move. But yeah, the away end went absolutely nuts. It was amazing. The way travel, the way following was superb, and it was just amazing. And because we'd played so well for so long defensively, the 20 minutes that we were in front was just wonderful. So many lovely songs and so much hugging, and it was just a great kind of atmosphere to be in. And you could tell Anfield was getting more and more frustrated, and then they just managed to score like a kind of deflected
we'll come on to that and various crowd chants in a little bit. There's the reaction from the goal. Look at that.
Yeah, amazing.
And some pick outs here. So look, Paul Merson was there. Where secret Spurs fan.
That is scary, isn't it?
It's quality, isn't it?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Apparently Paul Scholes made an appearance as well.
Yeah, a few pies.
And, his time's not been kind. And the ball boy's face was.
That's brilliant.
His haircut's interesting.
Do you know what? I wonder where Ross Barkley was these days.
Yeah.
Just had a bowl shoved on his head and trimmed, doesn't he? Look at that. So yeah, that's
Amazing.
absolute scenes.
Yep.
So yeah, how did you celebrate the goal, Becky? How long were you celebrating that for?
Hugging Joe, hugging random people, lots of fist pumping, and just lots of singing. But they sang from singing from first minute anyway to 95 minutes. But yeah, it was raucous. It was great.
That's the best atmosphere at the away ground, when everyone's singing and chanting and getting behind the team.
Yeah, because everybody expected us to get rolled over. So that's the thing. The positivity as the game kind of went on. Are we going to hang on? And then the fact that we scored first just lifted everything.
We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. Kind of, it sort of dawns on you that you might not get rolled over. I know it well. Sonny, now the second Spurs player since the Premier League began to score 20 Premier League goals without scoring a penalty. And I think I'm right in saying, John, that he would be top of the pops if you strip out penalties, because I think Salah's had like 4 penalties or something this season. So
yeah, because penalties don't count, obviously.
They don't. No, they're gimmies. But unfortunately, they do count, because otherwise Harry Kane would have probably scored about 100 less career goals. But
there is that.
Yeah, there is that. There's always yin and yang. Look, awesome thing, awesome player he's been this season. I still can't believe he committed to a new contract. But God, you've got to.
There was no noise, was there? There was no noise surrounding him at all about possibly going to other clubs, and his agent obviously wasn't touting him out, unlike certain other players who went and played golf with Gary Neville. But yeah, he's happy at the club.
And I was enjoying that moment particularly because I was in a pub surrounded by Liverpool people, and I was there with my Spurs shirt on. Literally, honestly.
Right.
I was just,
Did you leave the pub before the end of the game?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
Okay. Just wondering.
No, I didn't. No.
I can confirm that because I saw lots of bad karaoke videos that call us in.
I was out late. They had the karaoke out and everything. It was I think 2 a.m. I got to bed, and then my daughter woke me up at 6:15. So yeah, I'm sure lots of people watching can relate to that. Let us know in the chat if you can. Ben Davies had the game of his life, didn't he? Worldy blocks, like going out of fashion. Unbelievable, Daddy Davies. Irish, what's your thoughts on Davies? Would he survive the summer cull, or would you keep him around?
Look, the likes of Dyer and Davies, I would keep them around as backup, but I still want to improve on them. I just don't think they're proactive enough from set pieces. I've seen them drop off too many times. And look, even against Leicester last week, there's two of them in front of that shot, and both of them turn their bodies and make it smaller rather than keep their bodies. And for me, I just think, look, I do think Ben Davies had a really good game. A lot of blocks in there. But at the end of the day, we're praising him for doing his job. You know, that's what he's supposed to be doing. And I want to see a lot more of that going forward, because for me, I think he's been lucky that he's had a good season this season, because before that, I think he would have been first. He was one of my first ones out the door. I just think that he has had a good season this season, but we're praising him for putting blocks on the line and putting his body on the line and making blocks. But, you know, in hindsight, he should have been doing that a lot more this season. You go back and look at some of the games that we've dropped points in that could have made a difference right now to top four. I think Dyer, for me, is the main culprit. I've seen him do it against United, dropped off against Ronaldo for a shot, turned his back against against Brighton last minute, cost us that goal. Could have easily took a point from that game. And these sort of little fine margins throughout the season are what makes the difference between getting top four at the end of the season and not dropping points, not picking up a point at Anfield. It's the likes of the Brighton game, Brentford game, and stuff like that. And I just look at them, and for me, they haven't done enough over the course of the season. We're so susceptible from set pieces. Ben Davies is 5'11". I mean, Dyer's 6 foot odd, but he just doesn't want to go and attack the ball, you know. And for me, I would still upgrade on Davies 100%, and same as Dyer, but I would keep them as squad players, because what they have probably shown over the course of the season is that if we do pick up an injury or they are called upon, they can come in and have some good games, and they're more reliable than the likes of a Sanchez for me.
I agree. Sanchez, we're going to sell him surely. They'll sell him surely. And my take on Davis, I'd keep him around the squad, as I think he will be kept around the squad, because he's quite versatile as well. Obviously, he's natural left footer, but I'd be wanting to bring someone in for him, and we'll cover transfers at the end of the match review. But certainly had a good game. And then Fabinho, I mean, second half, look at this.
Oh,
just a mugging. Just literally a mugging. Dave, your opinion. How did he get away with it? I mean, Fabinho, as Irish picked up, he was fouling left, right, and centre, no cards, and then mugged him. Unbelievable.
Because it's Anfield. That's why. If a Spurs player had done that, all the Liverpool mafia in the media would be going on about it all week long. But you know, they don't.
Did it go to VAR?
No,
yeah. Did it go to VAR?
Well, it might have done, but we didn't get told it did. So
right, no.
The reality is you don't get decisions at Anfield. You never have done, and you know, it's a disgrace. He should have been sent off. As I said, if a Spurs player had done it, we'd have been down to 10 men. But that's the way it goes. But you know, as I said, the joy of it is that we've denied them the quadruple. And that makes me very, very happy.
Yeah, it makes me happy too. But I can't help but feeling we should have won that game. So, you know, their goal, it was just inevitable, wasn't it? Deflected, scrappy. Heart sank at that point, Becky, or were you thinking we're going to go on and lose this? Or
well, yeah, obviously we'd like to have hung on, but you know, apart from the Højbjerg one at the end, apart from the goal, we didn't have many chances in the second half. So I felt quite relieved that we didn't lose. But to be fair to Conte, he did try to make changes to sort of, you know, freshen things up and see if that would make any difference. But yeah, it's just a shame it was deflected. You know, I'd rather it be done by a Wildy or something like that. I felt sorry for Bentancur. Again, he didn't have the most amazing game. No, which is why it's unfortunate, really, for him. But he's, again, still new to this, isn't it? This is what we were saying before. I know we want players that slot in immediately and are great, but he's not had matches like this. He's not played at Anfield, and it's all this sort of, I felt a bit sorry for him, really. But, you know, Lloris didn't have much else to do.
No, he didn't.
I think we had more openings than the old. We just didn't. It was our final ball. You know, Emerson probably 3 or 4 times just got that final ball. There was a couple of times Son would have been through 1-on-1 if Emerson had just played a simple pass, but he overhit it or got it wrong. You know, we did make a lot of positions that we could have scored from on another day. And again, it comes down to the wing backs. If we can get those better quality wing backs, we will be able to win these games.
I had lots of people messaging me saying they thought it was a really good game to watch. So I think, again, that's a positive, isn't it? It's something to build on, hopefully, for next season.
It was a tactical battle. So sorry.
Yeah. If Fabinho gets booked when he's supposed to get booked, he doesn't get to chop down half as many breakaways, and we create a lot more chances in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Brought into managers, possibly would be the best referee in England. He's dished out 9 red cards this season, and he just forgot his cards at Anfield. It's ridiculous.
It seems to be a thing all refs are doing at the moment. They seem to be letting a lot go, which in some sense is good, but there's no consistency because you see one game where they let stuff go, and the next game, everything's getting yellow cards and red cards, and it seems that the inconsistency of the refs is just baffling, to be honest. VAR does nothing.
You even look at your man Liverpool against for Brighton. It felt like to me they were told at half time, if he makes another challenge, we're going to send him off. So take him off now. He should have been sent off before that. Shouldn't have even had a chance to take him off. Refereeing decisions have really let us down on this running.
Yeah, I agree. XG was pretty even. So 1-1, probably a fair result, much as though not the result we wanted. I think Klopp's reaction in the press conference or immediately after the game, talk us through it, Davo, because I know you're quite passionate about it.
Have we got that picture? Can we put that
this one?
there? Oh. Yeah. Look at that. He's just a big German baby. He really is. It's that persona, it's kind of that, I'm a really cool German persona, right? And all the smiles and this, that, and the other.
What a great impression.
Yeah, it's good. He's just ein großer deutscher Baby. He's just a big German baby. When things don't go his way, he chucks his toys out of the pram. There's a great interview of him with a BBC reporter on 606 when he had a massive hissy fit and he stormed off, right? I sent that to you, yeah? It's just the veneer. It's all part of the Liverpool way, blah, blah, blah. Everyone loves him.
What's more of a veneer, his personality or his teeth?
Well, that's why I use the word veneer, caller. We didn't just plan this. Yeah, so it's, as I said, it's the whole Liverpool loving. I've grown up for a long time. Well, I've grown up a long time. We all have. But I grew up in the 70s and 80s when Liverpool won everything. You never got a decision there. And Klopp, if Klopp wants us to send over our plans next season for the training sessions that we've had, what formation we're going to play, what team we're going to play, and what meal we're going to have before the game, we're happy to do so. Happy to oblige Jurgen as I tuck my forelock at you. Him and Guardiola, I kind of don't like either of them.
No. Well, apparently the Premier League are going to introduce a new rule from next season. Before you play Liverpool, every club must phone Klopp and ask him how they would like him to play against his team. He's just, if I may have my say on Jurgen Klopp, he's just... I agree with you, Dave. Don't get me wrong. What he's done at that football club is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I wish, in many respects, he was at our club and doing that for us, because he hasn't spent a lot of money. He spent less than Spurs net spend over the last 6 years. And he's produced probably the best football team in the world. However, the second anything doesn't go his way, the toys are further out the pram than me moaning about an offside on a Tuesday night up at the 4G pitch. He's out of control. When his mask slips so quickly, it's untrue. But there you go.
The thing that we noticed at the game is that it was quite refreshing to see us play the way we play, because that's normally how teams play against us. We're normally the ones having people park the bus against us. And it's really frustrating. So it was quite refreshing because we talked last week and the week before about how Conte didn't always have a plan B, and does he have a way of changing things? And he showed this week that actually he does. So it was quite refreshing seeing that, and then all of the kind of the fallout of all of it, to say if that's what we've got again, it's more possibilities for next year that we aren't going to be necessarily a team that can be easily read, and that was what was so positive, I think, about the whole thing.
To be fair, I actually take his comments as a bit of praise, to be honest with you, because it just means we done our job. We completely stamped out Anfield and we took the wheels off their quadruple. And to be honest with you, look, Karen Klopp can cry all he wants. VAR won him the Premier League. VAR won him the Champions League. So what's he crying about? He's got more over the green than anybody else. So just because we went up there and ruined their party, he can cry all he wants. But at the end of the day, I take it as a compliment. When Amanda speaks about your team like that, you're in their psyche. And what I take from the likes of the results at 2 draws with Liverpool, 2 wins against Man City this season, is that Antonio Conte has the best managers in this league and in Europe. He has their number tactically, and we can get a result against any of them. And it bodes well going into next season, because if we are going to go and have a good campaign next season, even if we go far in the League Cup or the FA Cup, or we're mounting a title challenge under Conte, which I believe is believable, you're inevitably going to have to do something against Man City or Liverpool to end your trophy drought. And if there's anyone that can do it, it's Antonio Conte. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think this has ended here. I think this will continue.
I've got to say, Liverpool have got nothing to moan about, because we put them into the title race by beating City in the first place. So we've had the deciding factor. We'll probably get a trophy for that, maybe, I don't know. But we decided we should have we decided the Premier League trophy race trophy. And Klopp's fist pumping, I saw it in the comments, whoever said that. He is possibly the most nauseating person ever. Just but
who's more irritating, Guardiola or Klopp?
I hate Guardiola.
But they're both equally irritating in different ways.
Yeah,
different ways.
Yeah.
Both,
and Arteta on the outside.
But I can imagine feeling that way about Conte when he's not, with you. To be honest, because
he's our irritant.
He's ours.
He's our irritant. Doesn't matter.
He's a bastard, but he's our bastard.
Correct. That's correct.
Absolutely. The TV coverage was pretty biased as well, I thought. Even like Glenn Hoddle, like the Spurs legend, God, I thought he was a bit off. I mean, did you see that, John?
I think a lot of people, especially in our little chat group, were moaning about Glenn, unfortunately. I think sometimes when you're an ex-player and you're commentating, you try to be neutral and it almost goes the other way.
But Liverpool's co-commentators don't do that, do they? They're very, very one-sided. So I don't know why he doesn't do that.
I mean, to be fair to Robbie Fowler, he was quite complimentary about us after the game. But it was quite drab. Darren Fletcher didn't have one of his better games commentating, I didn't think.
No.
It was quite frustrating to watch. At least we didn't have Martin Tyler, who apparently during the Man City game mentioned them going out to Real Madrid about 25 times.
But we always get Jim Beglin, ex-Liverpool player.
Oh,
so and we got him again.
How was that then?
Oh, it was the usual.
The usual.
But my kids couldn't really hear the commentary because I was swearing too much. Not a good example, just to say.
Talking of which, is Jack not in school if he's commenting today?
He should be getting ready for school.
Okay.
Hello, Jack. Please get ready for school. Thank you.
Well, look, he's a big German baby, and we're going to park him there because I just I don't want to think about him anymore. But I do want to talk about the Trust briefly, and we're big fans and supporters of the Trust. But they put out a statement today saying poverty and joblessness are not fair game for banter. I'm not sure that if that is exactly what the Trust put out. Is it, John? Is that right?
I don't think so. Paul Muir sent me that little screenshot. So
it was to that effect, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was the chanting was wrong. I want to give a bit of a review in the cheese room tonight because I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to say I'm not really with the Trust on this. Personally, it's all got a bit PC for me, and I definitely don't want to sound like that idiot Gooner. Whose name I won't even mention, but it's a bit woke. It's a bit like you can't chant this, you can't chant that. At the end of the day, I don't think anyone chanting that chant really believes that the people in the Liverpool end are jobless. They wouldn't be paying 70 quid for Category A ticket probably if they are, and if they are, they need to have a look at their lives really. But
I think it was sung in a good spirit. I think that the whole kind of the singing from the Spurs end was very positive throughout. The Liverpool fans didn't sing very much, and really there wasn't any ill feeling towards either side really. And when I was at Old Trafford, you could tell that it were songs that were kind of being sang back again too, but that wasn't like that at Anfield. I didn't think it was all I thought it was quite positive and jolly, and we were just so happy. So we were singing happy songs.
Yeah, and they were what, hissing back in return, I heard.
Well, or whistling possibly. Which again, it's like the Irish Hotspur said. Every time they sort of whistled when we were attacking, I took that as a good thing because they were worrying. So I saw it like that really, that they were panicking that we were going to do something. So yeah.
John, your view on this? You're a good fence sitter, you are. So this would be interesting.
I've just got the statement up. It does say poverty and joblessness are not fair game for banter. There is a cost of living crisis throughout England, including London. Our club represents an area and community with the fastest growing rate of unemployment in the country. So I get their point. I think Becky being in the middle of it is giving an interesting view that it was a bit of fun and banter. And sometimes you do get that with fans. You get stuff going back and forwards. But I do see the trust point that I can understand how it comes across. Dave was obviously quite upset when he thought that it was hissing originally. And I would be surprised with Liverpool. There are other clubs I can see doing hissing, but I'd be surprised with Liverpool fans.
Yeah, I think it was whistling. I think it was whistling more than hissing, definitely.
But Kerry obviously said it's just banter. There is a very fine line between banter and being offensive. And we're in a world where everything's becoming offensive. So it's really difficult to know what is and what isn't sometimes.
I've heard far worse this season at away matches than I have what we heard there.
I've heard far worse at work directed at me and my staff. And so is Caller. And we had this conversation the other day. But does that make it right? Not necessarily. But did they sing it for 90 minutes or did they sing it for like a minute?
No, maybe once. Yeah, once.
So it doesn't particularly bother me. I haven't heard Liverpool coming out and complaining about it. And that would be the major thing for me. Has it offended the Liverpool fans? I've not heard anything from them.
I mean, yeah, but I don't really care. To be honest, like it is light-hearted banter. Irish, tell me I'm wrong.
Look, first of all, I better be careful what I say because West Ham fans tried to cancel me a few weeks ago for trying to have a bit of banter and stuff like that. So I better be careful what I'd say. But look, what I'm going to say on it, for me, I think it's gone too far. I mean, it's a bit of banter at the end of the day. I mean, look, life is stressful enough without making absolutely everything offensive. It's a bit of banter. It's a joke, but and at the end of the day, I feel like that statement is so far removed away from the average fans that go to the game or follow football. Because at the end of the day, you speak to most people off camera, they'll say stuff about Liverpool and they'll tell you all of that stuff about Liverpool fans and jokingly and stuff like that. But for me, I just think the statement is so far out of touch with football fans and that at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I mean, what do you want the place to be? A boring place where everyone just sits down and observes the game, where everybody's silent, because that's the way it's going to head if it continues. At the end of the day, it's a bit of banter between two teams that both have a lot of pressure on them going into the game. I don't see the problem with a bit of banter, to be honest with you. I really don't.
So, Becky, do you want to tell us what the chant was?
I can't remember exactly because there was a few lagers. Can't remember exactly the words.
I think it was.
But when I read the statement, I thought I remember which one it is, but I can't remember exactly the words.
Yeah.
So it's clearly it was Becky leading the chance. She can't remember. She got home at 2 a.m. She had toast for munchies. It's all beginning to stack up against you, Becky.
I know. That's why the videos are a bit shaky. Can you not tell? They're a bit.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, someone who's maybe involved with the trust or who's been involved in putting out that statement, I can guarantee you they've said stuff like, about Liverpool in private. I can guarantee you it. It's all for me. It's just virtual signaling, to be honest with you.
Is
And
it
I
also because of the North London derby and they're trying to sort of put it out there that they don't want that sort of stuff on Thursday as well? I read it as that and thinking it's trying to kind of tell us what to do on Thursday.
But you're never going to take the rivalry away from that game. Never. No matter what you say, you're still going to have people that want to say things to each other. You're never going to stop it.
I agree. Davo?
Look, I'm a member of the trust. I'm a big supporter of what they do. I think they cop a lot of abuse from people who don't think they're vociferous enough in their criticism of Enoch, which I don't agree with. They're volunteers. They're doing the best job possible and representing the fans. But this time, I think they've completely not read the room. It wasn't, it was a chant that's been going on since the 80s. Not that I'm saying it's right, which is not really along racial lines or anything like that. I mean, if we're starting to outlaw chants on socio-political, economic lines, what's the rest? It's just nonsense. They haven't read the room. I think society's gone way too far with all of this stuff anyway, to be honest with you. But that's a whole other conversation. And then we can, we could lead ourselves into the conversation about the Y word, but we won't. We'll do that another time. And I just think they've gone too far. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Completely out of touch. Completely out of touch. Match day
On this one, yeah. Nonsense.
Just seems a bit much to me. But there you go. I mean, I was saying a lot worse than that to Liverpool supporters in the pub. I've got to be honest. After a few sherbets, nearly got myself in a little bit of bother. Diffused it over the karaoke, really.
Have we got? Can we put the clip up of you doing the karaoke? Because you did send it to us.
It's not me doing the karaoke.
Wasn't it?
I thought it was you.
No,
Really?
some old. Oh, that guy was about 70. How can you get us confused?
Quite easily.
Don't answer that, Dave. Don't answer that. So there we go. Top 4 league table then. So do we think it's still on? Have we got a league table on it?
No league table. We're ignoring that.
We know where we are. We're 4 points behind after the 2-1 victory.
It doesn't help that Leeds and Newcastle both got hammered yesterday when we needed a favour from.
Actually,
a favour, didn't we?
Leeds didn't get hammered, given they played 60
in the
minutes
end
with 10 men.
Yeah, I suppose.
Just a pity their goalkeeper decided to think he was, Cruyff.
Yeah.
I did love the way you got the word biffo into the pod yesterday, Davo. Well done.
Thank you.
Irish. Do you know what biffo means?
Over here, we call it a big ignorant fucker from Offaly. What's the meaning over there?
Biffo means having bit of a fight on the pitch. Bit of biffo, bit of biff. That's what it means down in Australia.
A little bit of afters, yeah?
Bit of afters. It's a bit of cooler at the karaoke bar, 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. Come on, son, you've had too many.
It was getting a bit rowdy. It was getting a bit rowdy. I was there with my neighbour who's a Man United fan, and he was drowned in his sorrows, let me tell you. Yeah.
See, going back to the chanting thing, in the pub by Anfield before the game, it was a mixture of home and away fans. And because we were watching the Man United game, there was a lot of kind of like joy between us. First of all, how we lost twice to them, and just the sheer nature of the implosion that's going on over there. So it wasn't a bad feeling kind of game. I don't think it was like that, at all.
It's a beautiful thing to see, to be honest. Man United getting stuffed by Brian Potter. Brian Potter? Graham Potter. Brian Potter's that
Harry Potter.
Beatrice Potter.
Brian Potter's the guy out of that Peter Kay thing, isn't he? Yeah, so apparently Leeds did you see the first goal that Leeds did?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
They literally rolled over for Arsenal. Literally rolled over for them. We've got a hell of a match preview coming up this week, Wednesday night, with an Arsenal season ticket holder. I'm sure he'll have a different take on it. But my God, I mean, if you haven't seen it, go and find the goal if you can bring yourself to watch it. He literally got tackled by the forward. It's the kind of thing you see on a school playground. Let alone a professional football. Honestly, just awful. Just awful. But
I'm just going to say it because I won't be on Wednesday on that preview show you're doing. Nketiah is on fire at the moment. He is giving them a different dynamic, and it worries me a little bit.
Mm.
Hopefully, Romero will put him in Rose Ed and we'll be all right.
I think that's what Romero needs to do. Just boot him. Just literally boot him. But we shall see what happens there. Let's talk a little bit about transfers. So this is all over the news today.
At least he's had a haircut. I must admit, when I saw that, I thought, oh, he's finally cut his hair. I hated his haircut the way it was before.
It's a very
It's the
weird
important things.
person.
Yes, there's some important things. Got all that money, you can afford a barber.
So stopping him will be interesting next season. But
Well, didn't HG put on Twitter today that he's got an injury or something, and that's where Real Madrid didn't want him.
oh really?
He's got inside information, apparently. Yeah.
Well, that is interesting. What Spurs rumours have you got for us then, John?
I did put him in. There's this guy Antonin Barak. Apparently, we're looking at him along with Napoli. He's a sort of a left-footed midfielder. Looks quite handy. Likes a goal. I think he's something like 6'3" as well. So another Czech guy. So I guess a bit like who's the midfielder at West Ham? Souček?
Yeah.
Similar to him, I think. And the other one is an Ecuadorian centre back. Let me find it. I forgot his name.
Oh, is this Hincapi?
Yeah, Piero Hincapi, who I did some really in-depth research. I watched the YouTube video for 2 minutes because we all know how effective they are. Didier Zakoro looked like a world beater when I watched him years ago. He actually looks like a left side. He looks like he plays left side of the centre back, and there's a bit of Romero going on. He's only 20. He's exactly a year older than James, my son. He was born a year before him on the same birthday, and he's played 16 times for Ecuador already.
Who's he played for club level? Bayer
Leverkusen. And we do all right with Bayer Leverkusen players, don't we? Sonny and Berbatov.
But these are two examples of players with potential, a little bit of a long shot. Conte wants players who are fit and ready.
Yeah.
Conte's very clear. I need to buy players for now, not potential.
Yeah,
I think we're going to do both. I think we'll be buying.
I think you have to do both. I think you always where we've been. You have to have something in the supply line, whether it's from the academy or whether you buy in talent like Hill, for example. You've got to, or Sarr, you've got to have a pipeline of people lined up ready to go for the future, even if you just load them out. It's what Chelsea do, you know.
Okay, I'm going to suggest something revolutionary. Can we buy one player who's currently playing in the Premier League? Just one.
I don't mind. Dave, you're not listening. We're going to buy experienced players as well.
I think the problem with the Premier League, there's a premium, isn't there, on Premier League players?
Let me have Biffo with you.
The point is that Paratici's bought exclusively outside the Premier League thus far. I'd like us to get at least one player for the balance. Get someone in who's got Premier League experience in the here and now, and off we go.
Aside from Eriksen, you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, Eriksen might be it. That might be it. That's all we'll bring in.
If I tell you something, if we get Eriksen in, I don't mind that. If it's going to be, he's going to be because like Conte played him in a much deeper role for Milan, so he couldn't get in the team for Milan to start with. Conte was slagging him off a bit, and then he got him playing deeper. And he was more in the Serie A when they won the Serie A last year. He started playing at the tail end of the season, so I don't have a problem if he brings him in that deeper role. Winks goes, and then and you've got Skip, Bentancur, and I know that Irish Hotspur might not agree with me. If we traded in Højbjerg for Calvin Phillips and did a deal that way, I'd be over the moon about that. That'd be a proper.
If Leeds go down, there's a chance.
Yeah, because of the release clause, isn't there? They get relegated.
He's a quality player, Phillips.
Sorry?
I'd prefer Ward-Prowse. I think he offers more. He solves a lot more problems in terms of set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks, and stuff like that. I think Calvin Phillips is just a more expensive, or the Yorkshire Winks, you know?
I think he's much better than Winks. I think you're putting him down there, Irish. I think the Ward-Prowse is he 28 now? And Southampton will demand 50 million for him, and it's going to
issue with Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse is worth buying just for his free kicks.
Definitely.
His set pieces. He's probably the best crossover ball in the Premier League. Best set piece expert.
He also has goals from outside the box, which we've lacked.
Yeah, I just don't think Southampton will let him go very cheaply. That'd be the issue, or at all.
He's got a long contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, he signed a new contract last summer, didn't he? A long-term one.
Yeah, Charlie Kane was involved.
If Charlie Kane was involved, there'll be get-out clauses. We'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine.
With Haaland going to City, do you think that now means Kane stays at Tottenham?
Yeah.
I don't think Kane was ever going anyway. If I'm being really honest, I think we'd have held him to the final 2 years of his contract the way Levy does business. Whatever his shortcomings are, I think he's learned that your contract is your contract now. He got rolled over Berbatov, Modric, back in the day, and I think his thing has always been you need to respect Spurs and treat them like a big team. To other clubs, and I think he's in a position where he can do that now. I love the fact that Davo is just winding up here for an attack on Enoch, and I am literally teeing you up, son. Go on,
Kyle Walker.
Yeah, I mean he would. I would have kept Kyle Walker. But Poch didn't want him, did he?
Poch wanted him gone.
Yeah. No. Look, the reality of the situation with Kyle Walker is that, as the source says, if Levy had paid him over 100 grand a week, he'd have stayed and signed a new deal.
I don't think that's true, because 100 grand a week we would have paid easily for him.
Yeah, but that's at the time we weren't paying Kane more than 100 grand a week, so he was besotted with not paying anyone else more than 100 grand a week, and that is the start of that. Was
in your opinion?
Well, it's true, and the fact of the matter is that City at the time were our rivals. If you remember, it was just after Guardiola's first season. We finished above them in the league. They needed to spend $500 million on a whole load of fullbacks, which they didn't have, and that was their weakness. And we gave them one of our best fullbacks. Everyone goes, "Well, Trippier was a ready-made, replacement." No, he wasn't. He wasn't. It's not the same player. We had real strength and depth. Davis, Rose, Trippier, Walker, and we should never have sold him. And that was.
I know Pochettino got it completely wrong.
And who did we replace him with? Serge Aurier. Enough said.
Oh. I mean, they were in for Pereira, weren't they? They should have got him, the guy at Leicester.
Yeah.
But again, we know our recruitment's been terrible. We know that.
But I think with Kane, I don't think he'll go. I think from Kane's point of view and Charlie's point of view, with his motorbike in his office, I think he'll run down the contract now for 2 years and go somewhere else.
I think he'll sign a new one. To be fair.
I think so.
Good luck signing a new one.
I think he'll sign a new one. I think what you'll see is if Conte commits maybe to a contract extension, which I think he will, then I think Kane will follow pretty sharpish after that. I hope so, just to see your face, Davo, to be honest.
I do have some breaking news for you, caller.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Winks for a bag of Revels.
I'd take that. I'd absolutely take that. Look, Harry Winks has got to go. All right, there's a number of reasons why. You don't want me to go back over.
We all know. We all agree.
Okay, on the same token, if Kane signs a 2-year extension and you want to see my face, if Winks signs a 2-year extension, I want to see your face.
If he gets,
we can call it face off.
Yeah. There's no way he's getting an extension. The only thing he's getting is sent to Coventry or somewhere. That's his level, Championship.
But see, Winks has always had the security of being registered in the Premier League squad and the European squad as a player that has come through the academy and qualifies for homegrown. So he's had the double qualification on the Premier League registration. I firmly believe that's why we've dished him out pay rise after pay rise without actually warranting it. And for me, I think his time is up. I think he's got to go. It's clear. Like you look at how we've played since Bentancur has come in midfield alongside Højbjerg, compared to what we were doing with Winks in beside Højbjerg. It's night and day, and for me, that just proves that the guy's not good enough, and he has to go. And he doesn't have the security of coming through the academy and doubling up on the when you register the squad as an English player as well, because you've got Ollie Skip now for that. You've got Jaffet Tanganga in and around. You could register him for that. So there's enough options now that he doesn't have that security to hang on to.
No, I agree. There you go. Winks was responsible for that. Fantastic. Well, Yeah, and
was a good cross, to be fair.
Come on,
And
Dean.
also, didn't
That doesn't-
Conte say some really nice things about him when he first came? Because he called him Winky,
Winky.
didn't he, accidentally? So he said that he was working really hard in training and he could trust him, and and everyone was sort of thinking, oh, he's going to sign a contract here and we're going to be stuck with him. He's gone a bit quiet, hasn't he, on that?
He was up against Ndombele, Lascelles and Ali. I mean, it's not hard to be the most trustworthy out of all of them.
Yeah.
You know, and plus, at the end of the day, I truly believe in, like, look, being a manager sometimes it's like playing 5D chess. He's saying that about Harry Winks just in case he got injuries and had to rely on him. You know, because at the end of the day, if he came out and said, well, the truth about Harry Winks that all of us fans can see with him, and Antonio Conte knows it as well. If he was to come out in the press and berate him, and then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks down the line, it's like, I've got no one else to play. Winky, you're in. I mean, Winks isn't going to play for him. He's not going to perform for him, is he? You know, so I think there's definitely a bit of 5D chess going on there when he said that. Or else not too many bottles of wine either.
I'll tell you what, there's one player that we've got to talk about this, if this is true, which I'm taking it on good faith it is. Burnley caretaker manager Michael Jackson has revealed that Maxwell Cornet has been confused regarding his Burnley contract. This week, Cornet indicated he'd like to return to his parent club. The 48-year-old has told the Ivorian, "You're not on a loan." He's signed permanently.
Where is his parent club? Does anybody know what it is?
His parent club.
Burnley
What?
now.
Yeah, but where was it? Where's he trying to get back to?
I will look for you.
Okay.
Yeah, look, John.
Although someone put it in the
That is quite amusing. That is quite amusing.
Maxwell
Yeah.
Cornet.
In other news, we talk about
came from Leon. He wants to go and play with Ndombele.
There you go. We
Yeah.
talk. And the ballet.
Tell him we'll swap.
And the ballet's confused. He thought he was, a chef, not a football player. Speaking of chefs, Decky on the barbecue. Look at that.
Oh.
Again, there's some issues here. Number one, who barbecues sweet corn directly onto a grill? That's amateur.
Surely you do it with a bit of foil or something.
Bit of foil glazed in butter would be my garlic butter would be my.
It doesn't strike me as someone who eats a lot of food with a lot of butter on it, though. He's very thin, isn't he?
Right, Becky. What are you trying to say about my diet?
You don't look like Kulusevski, basically.
Neither do any of us.
Thank you very much. Play football like him though. I do play on out wide sometimes.
Oh God, are we back on this again?
Honestly, it's the best thing I did. You should absolutely take up some 5-a-side or 10-a-side, Dave, because it's
I've retired, mate.
You get fit. It's just great. It's great fun.
Yeah. And Dave, you can then send us pictures of your knee damaged because you've got forging.
I did send a picture of my knee to the WhatsApp group. Yeah.
I've had more hernia operations than Darren Anderton. I've retired.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. What else have you got for us, John? Have you got on this day?
No, because they were all terrible. I didn't want to depress ourselves.
Why were they terrible?
Because we just seem to lose a lot on the 8th and 9th of May, going back through the years.
We beat Newcastle 1-0, didn't we? I saw that today. Didn't even remember that game.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to bother.
Here's a question for you then. I'll give it to you, Irish. What do we need to spend, and who would you sign in terms of positions? I'm not asking for players' names at this stage. We've got plenty of summer to cover all of that. But how many players do you think we need to compete for the title?
I think we need about 6 players in to be honest with you. I think, look, the issues stem from midfield backwards. I think defence, is a major one for me. I mean, before Conte came in, Dyer, Davies, even Doherty, Sessegnon, a lot of people wanted out of this club. And he's managed to form a cohesive unit, but still have let us down over times this season. I don't think, they're, what would you say? I don't think they're consistent enough for me. So I would like to bring in 2 centre-backs, if not 3, a left wing back, a right wing back, another centre midfield, and it looks like Bergwijn's gone, so another player that can play across the front 3.
And what do you reckon that's going to cost?
I reckon it could cost the guts of about of about 250 million, but we can make up some of that money through player sales. There's a lot of players there that we can offload and get rid of and improve on. And just the likes, and then what you're doing then is you bring in players to kind of freshen up and improve that first team, and then the likes of Dyer and Davies and that become backup players and just give you that a bit more options from the bench. And once we have a squad of 16, 17 players that we can rely on, the manager can trust, to pick them, I think we'll have a very good season next season.
I'd love Pau Torres left centre back. I'd love it. My only thing is, I'd actually, I don't know. Dyer is everyone's favourite pro, it seems, who comes in the club. So Conte loves him, Poch loved him, and Jose loved him for whatever reason. I think he'd stick around and I think he'd build that. I think he'd be one of the starting choice centre backs for Conte next season. I don't think we'll sign a replacement. I think we should, by the way. I think we should, because I think he is too error prone. But then again, show me a centre back who doesn't make mistakes. Virgil van Dijk does. Davo, what's your view on what we need and how much we're going to spend? And I'd love to know a little bit about Eric Dyer. And I'd love you to drag it out just long enough for me to go and get a beer.
Okay, as long as when you go away to beer, you can come back with another footballing story that you have for the week.
Oh, I've got loads for you. Don't worry about that.
We're all waiting on.
I'll tell you about the time where I had a drink with Ledley King.
No. Playing football anecdote. So I
can I just interrupt, Dave? 144 people watching, 68 likes. Come on, guys, please press the like button, and then
that's shit.
Back already. That's the in-depth analysis we want on this show, right there, isn't it? Sorry, Dave, go on.
That was like Rent-A-Ghost then. Okay, so we need a backup goalkeeper to replace the rapping Italian. We need at least 2 wing backs to upgrade on what we've got, on one on each side. We need a left-sided left-footed centre back, so that's 4 for the defence. We need a midfielder with guile, that's 5. We need a backup striker. So those are the upgrades, yeah. But if we're losing the likes of Mora or that's 6 upgrades, which means that, and then 6 go out the squad. But if we don't want a situation where 4 went out in January and 2 came in, we don't want to leave ourselves short. I mean, it would be nice if he plays 1 or 2 of the younger players a bit more regularly, but that's never going to happen with him, and that's fine. So my view is it's 6. So we got Johnson as a backup goalkeeper. I'd be pleased about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's been heavily linked, and he's free, so that makes sense. Means there's not transfer money going out. I think
Daniel Levy's favourite word is free, after the word development. Moving on.
I think we know the positions we need. You're right. I think if it looks like Lucas is going to stay, Bergwijn will go. We'll get probably 25, 30 million euros for him, I suggest, plus an add-on. There'll be a buyout or a sell-on or something, won't there? Levy loves one of those deals. But we do. Irish is right. We need someone who can play across the front 3 positions. Someone who can play as a central striker, but also as a winger. Because that's the problem. Everyone says, "Oh, we can't bring him back up to Kane. So who's going to sit on the bench?" But if they can rotate in those positions, they're more likely to get more games. The reason Bergwijn doesn't get the games is just because Kane is obviously so important, and Bergwijn can't play that role. You can't drop Son, and Kulu's been brilliant. So I feel sorry for Bergwijn, but I can understand why he doesn't get the game time at the moment.
Yeah, but all this business about you can't buy someone to sit on the bench for Kane, I think that's just a load of old crap. Yeah. What other top 4, top 6 team is so reliant on Kane? And to be honest with you, I think Kane in the last 4 weeks has looked very leggy, right? I thought first half
since he went to the golf.
Yeah, well, exactly. Should never have gone to the bloody golf. But he's looked very leggy in the last 4 weeks, and he's been playing non-stop for 12 months, right? And I think it's just unbelievable. A team with top 4 aspirations needs to have another striker, okay? And we need to get another striker. There are times that you can play 2 up top. All the games that we've played where we struggled to break down teams, the Brighton ones, it was crying out to stick a second striker up there to play up top with Kane and try something different. So we need to do that. I mean, the interesting thing is Conte's talking about getting in a number 10 because he wants Kane to focus on being the main striker. But I'm not sure what that does for our formation because we don't quite have a number 10 in that formation at the moment.
I mean, he went to 3-5-2, didn't he? Which is why he brought Winks on Saturday. So it's whether he played 3-5-2 in Inter, didn't he? And that's where Eriksen found his position eventually. Becky, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Dave. It's the same thing, you know, which clubs don't have, like we've talked before about Liverpool and about the amount of people they brought Jota on Saturday and, you know, the people they can bring on to change things, and we don't have that. And they say that, you know, but is it partly down to Kane as well? As Kane, we always see in games where we think, you know, I don't know, we're 3-1 up, get Kane off. And he keeps Kane on, and whether Kane is part of that, whether we've talked about before, whether he's got some, you know, clause in his contract on, you know, goals that he makes or something. I don't know, but it's so unheard of, and it needs to be. Hopefully now, if Haaland is going to City and all that pressure off whether he's going is gone, that we can sign somebody else and do some sort of pressure on Kane, really, because there's no pressure at the moment, is there?
Irish?
Yeah, look, for me, I also think it's a load of bollocks that you can't get another striker in here to back up Kane. I mean, you're telling me we couldn't have jumped at a Mitrovic, who provides a complete different option against low block teams. If you are getting the ball out wide and putting the balls in the box, no better man than someone like that. Danny Ings, before, you know, he got his move to Aston Villa, you know, he went to Liverpool and they had umpteen strikers at the time, but he still went there. Callum Wilson, who ended up at Newcastle, could have got him. Edouard, who ended up at Palace, could have got him. But the problem is I don't think we see it as a massive priority. I think we see Kane as a robot, to be honest with you. And look, I don't think it's about Kane, not wanting to come off. Just at the end of the day, Kane provides a lot for this team. He provides focal point. He provides goals. And, you know, he can hold up the ball as well. And if you're taking off Kane, you're taking a lot out of the game. If you put on somebody else, who's going to be up there to hold up the ball, to relieve the pressure, even if you are winning a game? So for me, you have to bring in another option for him. But, like, you don't even have to get in a striker. I mean, if Kane got injured, you could put Son up there. Just get someone of quality that can come in and play in Son's position and do what Son offers, you know. But for me, I agree. I think it's excuses that we can't get in. I mean, I grew up watching Spurs team with 4 strikers and only 2 were playing. So I mean, I think it's ludicrous that we can't get in another striker. It's not true. We can. Yeah, look, if you're going for like a player like, I think this is all stemmed for me from like Morata. When we went for Morata that time, and it was like, I'm not coming to Tottenham because I'm not being second fiddle to Harry Kane. But Morata is a super agent. Look at the clubs. Look at the moves the guy's managed to swindle. At the end of the day, of course, someone like him's not going to come when he can go to a Juventus, go to a Chelsea, get paid massive amounts of money and stuff like that. But we've definitely missed out on a lot of options that we could have had somebody in by now for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the days of a striker, if you like, are almost gone. If you look at the way Liverpool and City play, and Spurs to a degree, it's more around rotating those forward 3 players. They're sort of not strikers as such, but forwards that can play across the line would be the best way to put it. Yeah, I agree. We should have more options. Bergwijn would obviously is. Having said all of that, Bergwijn is quite unlucky that he's not getting any options whatsoever at the moment. He's getting about 5 minutes off the bench here and there, but I think you've got to have more. You've got to have more players. Well, I've got you, Irish. Would you take Bale back?
Not. If you would have asked me before we got in Kulusevski, I would have said yes. But now we've got in Kulusevski, I wouldn't. I would look to maybe bring in another option. Look, Bale for me was hit and miss when he came back. Part of it was, look, even when Jose Mourinho was playing in Europa Conference League games, he didn't really do enough to gain the trust of the manager to be starting in the Premier League. And for me, I think if he comes back, he's using us up until the World Cup. And then once the World Cup is finished, I think you'll see a drop-off in Gareth Bale. For me, I wouldn't take him back. No, I think we need to move on from the past.
David Harris says, speak the truth once more. Beautiful words, David Harris.
Well, look, we can't keep going down the route of getting Bale to replace Bale, Eriksen to replace Eriksen, and so on and so on. At the end of the day, the only reason why we're asking for it is because we've bought crap. You just get a proper scouting department in place. We've got the right man now at Paratici who can manipulate a budget and get the deals in, no matter what the budget is. Just get the scouting right, and we won't have this problem. We won't be sitting here talking about replacing Eriksen with Eriksen, Bale with Bale.
I agree with all that, but I still say one season back with Bale as a full stadium and all of that is what we didn't have, and that's what the fans want. And if it is just for fitness for the World Cup, then so be it. Let's have him until December. Let's just get him on a 4-month contract. Have him on a 4-month contract, and he can stay fit, and then he can go in December, please.
Yeah. No, Becky, you just want to get down to the lane, have some lagers, have some toast at 2 a.m, and shout at Bale, and then offending some other opposing fans with your chants about socio-economic conditions, and the trust puts out another statement again. It's all you, Becky.
But the thing is, though, as well with Gareth Bale, I mean, I know what he done come the end of the season and the numbers he racked up in the Premier League, but Kulusevski's coming in January and almost has the same numbers. We don't need someone like a Gareth Bale anymore.
Not even for the cup games and the sort of Carabao and the early qualifiers for Europe and all of that up until December.
What did he do in the Europe? What did he do in when he played them under Jose Mourinho?
He did score because he was always in that yellow kit.
I don't think he had enough games. I don't think he was match fit for quite a long time.
But that's on him. There's no excuse for that. I mean, you've got the best training facilities in the world. There's no excuse for it.
No, but being match fit, Irish, is different. Being match fit was down to Josie wasn't giving him game time. You can't play one game once a while. The trouble is, he goes
in Madrid. There comes a point where he has to show a manager. He's got all the training sessions during the week to prove to a manager why he should be picked. What's he doing in them training sessions? A manager doesn't just pick a player or not pick a player for the sake of not picking him. He's not picking him because he's probably not doing enough in training.
It's because the manager's not going to the golf course.
You know, you got the likes of Zinedine Zidane, Carlo Ancelotti. All in the end, didn't trust him, didn't play him in the big games. Irish David Harris has said everything that I wanted to be said. He came back, he scored against the lower down the table opposition. He got those 2 goals against Leicester when they were chasing top 4 in the final game. He didn't turn up for the Europa game in Zagreb when he came on a sub. He didn't turn up against the Emirates, the Gooners at the Emirates.
No one did.
But hang on, we paid him a truckload of money, even with the deal that we did with Madrid, right? It cost us 16 million quid for the year. We got Joe Rodon as well. We could have spent that money on Skriniar. And Mourinho Mourinho didn't need him for that position. He had options there. It was a Levy purchase. And it's the most worrying and alarming thing that an owner with a degree in land management can make footballing decisions. But that's just another discussion for another time.
I just want to add as well. I mean, look, I get it that match fitness is completely different and stuff like that. But we should never be in a culture where we're just handing out game time to get somebody match fit. At the end of the day, a player has to come to a football club and has to warrant the minutes. If he gets brought off on the bench for 10, 15 minutes, do everything you can in that 10, 15 minutes. And then it knocks on. You gain the trust of a manager. You get 30 minutes the next time. Then you're in for a start. You take that. That's how it happens. We shouldn't just hand the minutes because he's Gareth Bale.
Well, I don't think we'll be signing him anywhere, if I'm being really honest. Would you take Weghorst, I think it's pronounced. I'm sure if HG was... He's not here, so whatever. Weghorst. Plays for Burnley, up top unit, isn't he? John, what's your view on this? Because we do lack a plan B, and, I think the reason Lee's shouting him out was he was reasonably priced, wasn't he? And he's scored a lot of goals.
He was about 15 million, 17 million. It wasn't even a record transfer, wasn't he? And I mean, he caused us all sorts. He was man of the match against us. He caused us all sorts of problems. If it means we're going to focus money elsewhere on the squad, then yes, he'd be good signing. I imagine he's probably got a get-out clause if they get relegated, which means he'll probably score twice next Sunday against us because we'll still be asleep at midday. But yeah, I wouldn't be against him coming in, but it depends who else we sign as well.
Yeah.
If we get all 3 transfers and him, I'll be probably a bit annoyed.
Yeah, well, exactly.
See, someone's put in the chat about Tony from Brentford. That's not a bad idea, but then we'd need Eriksen because Eriksen would do all the passing to him. So we'd have to have Eriksen as well.
And is Tony worth 50 million? That's what I would say. Not in my opinion. He's not proven, is he?
What do you mean he's not proven? He scored goals for Brentford.
He has had a good season, though.
Has,
Yeah.
but you've got to do it consistently for a number of seasons, not just like 9 months or whatever. It's a long game, Dave. Otherwise, you'd be signing every Tom, Dick, and Harry, wouldn't you?
So how many how many seasons in Serie A did Romero have? How many established seasons did he have in Serie A?
2, I think.
Okay, so it's 2. If you have 2 good seasons, you can sign for us.
Yeah, I'll be all right with that.
Okay, just checking.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't know. I don't think Tony is all that, to be honest. He's not a £50 million striker. I'd rather see us pay 50 million quid for someone else.
If we get Weghorst in, then we need to make sure that we have wing backs who get to the byline and stick a decent cross in on his head.
But that's what we're saying, isn't it? So to answer my own question that I left you with a while ago, we need 2 new wing backs. Arguably, we need at least 2 new centre backs, depending on who they go, because I can't see Rodon hanging around for another season. Sanchez needs to go, and I'd like to upgrade Dyer, but I don't think we will. I just don't see it. I think his leadership qualities are what managers like, and then straight away that's 100 million quid, isn't it? Easy before you even start talking about forwards. So if you can get Weghorst for 15 million or whatever, then he's a useful option from the bench. But as King Hoddle's just pointed out, 2-12 for Burnley, he's smashing it. So can we do a little bit better? Can we do a little bit better? Yes, I would say so. And again, look, Pau Torres, my man. I love Pau Torres. I think he'll be a fantastic acquisition. And they want the Celso, don't they? So
Sanchez is rated in Spain, isn't he?
Sanchez is rated in Spain. I don't know how, but he is.
Because he does work for Colombia.
Pau Torres will be dependent on whether we get Champions League. If we get Champions League, then we've got a good chance of getting him. If we don't, forget it.
I don't know, because just having Conte as the manager this summer not give you access to a better standard of footballer than we would have had if, dare I say, if Nuno was in charge. You don't think?
Yeah, well, obviously, but the point is that he's only got 1 year contract at the moment. He's got 1 year left.
Yeah,
so let's see what happens.
Sell him the dream. You two could be training at the best training ground in the world
with an upgraded media centre. That'll sell him.
Media centre and a cinema just across the road. Yeah,
I think that the cinema's at the ground.
I think we've got lots of cinemas, Dave. I'm sure of it.
Well, as long as we build a nice big multiplex, that's what's important.
Look, we've been going just over an hour and a half. I'm conscious we are back on Wednesday, so we're going to have a pre-match preview. Pre-match preview. I've only had 2 beers tonight, and I'm already rocking a little bit.
A preview is something that's going to happen later.
Before the game, Dave. Yeah, before the game. So
a review is after it's happened. We've had a review tonight. Okay.
I'm so glad you're here. So many reasons. So that'll be good. And we've got HG's Doppelganger on again, the Gouda fan. So you're gonna have to tune in.
He's in Ireland.
It's gonna be
He lives in Ireland, doesn't he?
He does live in Ireland, and he looks like HG. But he talks a lot more sense than HG.
He's very nice as well. He's a nice
guy.
He's a top bloke from the Daily Cannon. So that'll be good on Wednesday. And then, John, tell us about your post-match. What you're doing?
We haven't scheduled it yet, but Davo, myself, and James, and possibly Paddy, if he gets back from his conference. Well, as long as we win, we'll be doing a quick post-match review. That's what you do afterwards, caller. Of the North London derby. If we lose, I might not be up for it. As much as Franco said on the pod, there might not be a pod if we don't play well on Thursday.
I'm going out Thursday night. I'm going out Thursday night Sydney time, so there's every chance I'm going to be very hungover watching that game.
I'm out Thursday night as well, Dave. Guess where I am?
Karaoke.
I'm at the game. That's where I am. I'll be there in my seat. Becky, will you be there? Not got a ticket for that one.
No, it's a midweek game. I'll be home at like 4 a.m. So no.
Worth it. So worth it when we beat the Scum. So worth it. So worth
I'm at Burnley though.
Are you?
I'll be at Burnley when it's like dead and doesn't mean anything. But there you
No,
go.
I'll be at Burnley.
Midday kickoff, awful atmosphere. Thursday will be banging.
Here's what's going to happen, right? We're going to beat Arsenal. They're going to drop points at Newcastle, and it is going to go down to that last game of the season.
Dele Alli is going to win it. No, he's not.
Dele Alli's going to win it. Yeah, absolutely.
Need Trippier to score a free kick first.
Hey,
Need Trippier to score a free kick first in the
free
Newcastle
kick.
game.
Let's look. I'm just going to face into this, Kerry. I don't leave home games early when I'm in the, or when I'm with the home support. Just when I'm with the away support at Leicester. Yeah. Anyway,
before we go, should we obviously give the opportunity to David Harris to promote and plug his content?
I was about to do that, but thanks for interjecting, Davo.
Yeah, people can find me over at the Irish Hotspur. I do daily Tottenham content, a lot of talk shows, a lot of discussions. Look, I will warn people. I don't hide away from my opinions. I do put them out there, probably more forcefully on my channel than on any other channels. So, look, if that is your thing, get over and smash the subscribe. Even if it isn't, get over and smash the subscribe. You don't have to watch me, but the subscriber count, it looks good when it goes up. But most importantly, smash the subscribe here. I have to say, I really enjoyed the show you've done there last week, going through the training ground and everything else like that. I know with the times with Daniel Levy and all, it's probably not the right time to be putting something like that out and everything else, but I really did enjoy it. So if there's anyone new here, smash the subscribe button here first.
Absolutely.
And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it.
No, pleasure to have you on. Becky, see you again soon.
Yeah, see you on Wednesday. I'm on the Wednesday one.
There you go. And until next time, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Dave?
Come on, you Spurs.